morning. It is Thursday. It is my second day back from break. I am here very early today because I am finishing up some station learning that I'm doing with my students, and I thought it would be helpful for you to see how I set up my learning stations. This station activity set is actually all on intermolecular forces, and it helps the students to observe different phenomena and then basically explain it in terms of different terms like cohesion, adhesion, surface tension, viscosity. All of these things all come down to intermolecular forces and how these particles interact with each other. So it does a really good job linking the observable with the unobservable. So here are some tips that can help you set up your learning stations if you're new to station learning. If you're new to station learning, I highly suggest that you purchase a couple of things. First thing is you'll definitely need some picture frames. So the picture frames is what I have my students read and make sure that they understand before they begin any of the stations. I also have a tendency to put the important concepts that they need to understand, as well as any cleanup procedures. I share that it's my expectation that they spend time cleaning up the lab station before they go to any other station. And I talk about how basically it's important that they realize that I'm only one person and I simply just can't clean up after every single station after they finish it. So I really rely on them to make sure that the station is ready for the next set of students. Another thing that's really helpful, especially if you're working with materials that are a little messy, having a beaker of soapy water ready to go is very helpful. That way, when you're ready to start cleaning in between classes or in between days, you can go ahead and very easily clean these things, and they've already been soaking for a little while. Another thing that's really helpful is if your students are, again, working in lab, having a waste beaker available when they're done using their equipment, that will help too. I also go a little crazy with making sure that everything has labels so that the students aren't wasting time waiting for me to come around and ask me questions on, where things are. So I think spending time labeling everything really helps. So this is quite a interactive lab, and there's lots of setup that's involved, but what's kind of nice is this can hold you over for about 2 to 3 periods. Alternatively, if you didn't want to do so many stations, because I think this station set has about 7 or 8 stations, you could absolutely go ahead and just do 3 at a time. That would also work. So this is my station on solubility. This is my station on mystic sand, and you can see every station has the station sign in front, and then the equipment. It's usually set up so that 2 groups of students can be working at the same time. So you can see I would have a pair of students working on this side, and then I would have a pair of students working on that side. As you can imagine, being on a cart, it is very difficult, but that's why I have every station in an individual green basket. So those green baskets really help to keep my stuff organized. If you are teaching from a cart, my recommendation is to absolutely do that. Another helpful tip is if you don't have quite enough stations and you're worried about some downtime, having some alternative assignment for the students to work on is also very helpful. So I have a few students coming in for extra help today, so I have to get ready for them, but I hope to check in back with you later. So it is the end of the day on Thursday. It has been a crazy couple of days. Yesterday obviously was our first day back from break, and today we're kind of settling back into our routine, and I had to finish station learning with my students. So we did station learning today and we did station learning yesterday, and we were looking at different stations for intermolecular forces. It went really well, but it is a lot of setup, especially when you don't have your own classroom. So I'm very, very tired, but that's okay. It is 4:23, and after I vlog, I am going to get out of here. But you know, I think when you're doing station learning, it's a really great opportunity for the students to learn. You know, one thing I think that's important for teachers to recognize, and I have a hard time doing that, is that, you know, you don't need to have a million stations. Now, for this particular activity, I was required to have these many stations because I needed to kind of show the different properties. So we were really examining things like viscosity and surface tension, and we were looking at capillary action and cohesion versus adhesion. And so there was a lot going on. So I had to kind of incorporate a lot of different activities to do this. But you know, even when I do regular station activities, I would say try, if you're new to this, limit how many stations you do and don't require every station. And that was kind of interesting. That was actually a recommendation given to me. You don't have to, you know, require every station. So if there's a few stations that teach the same thing, you can have the students choose. And you know me, I always really think that the power of choice is really important for students so that they can kind of internalize the learning and take more ownership over their learning. So those are some 2 tips that I think could help. Another thing that I always do, which I can't remember if I talked to you about this earlier today when I was vlogging, but establishing norms with your students. So whenever I do station learning with my students, I always establish my expectations or the norms for station learning. And so what that means is I tell them, as soon as you get to a learning station, it's my expectation that you're going to sit and you're going to look at the entire station and you're going to marvel at how amazing a job your teacher did at setting up this station. And we'd laugh or whatever. But I say, you know, it's your job as the student to make sure that when you're finished with the station, it is set up exactly like this. And I tell them, you know, as much as I would love to clean up after you and set it up every time everybody's done with it, it's just not possible because I'm only one person. So I really need your help to make sure that this is set up for the next learning team. So the first norm is, you know, take note of how the station is set up. The second norm that I tell my students is you need to read the picture frame first, because when the students read the picture frame, they understand the concepts that are necessary. So like my picture frames always include the concepts or objectives that what the student needs to get out of the learning station. So for example, with one of the learning stations, it just said, you know, cohesion versus adhesion, right? It could be something very simple. If you want to, you know, go crazy and put a learning objective, go you. That's awesome. Sometimes I just don't have time to do that, so I don't. So that's the first thing. So putting the objectives, what do they need to learn by doing the station? What are they going to be expected to demonstrate? Then what I do is I go through and I put down the directions for cleanup. So I always put the cleanup procedure. So I tell them that, you know, after you notice about how everything's set up, my expectation is that you're going to read the entire picture frame in detail. And so that will tell them the important concepts. That'll tell them the appropriate cleanup procedures. So those are a few of my recommendations if you're kind of struggling to manage the chaos when you're doing station learning. But I think those are some things that'll really help. And I know I mentioned this morning, having an alternative assignment also will kind of allow you to, you know, kind of avoid like the backlog of students kind of waiting to get to a station if you don't have enough stations set up. Also, station learning is great, especially if you don't have a lot of equipment. That intermolecular forces activity, like I just simply don't have enough equipment for all the students to have one of each thing. It's just way too much. So station learning is great because if you don't have enough equipment, you could just put it, you know, in one place and have the students work on it. So with that said, I am going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. If you went back to school, I hope you had a great first week back. If you are gearing up to head back to school, I hope you have an amazing first week back. But either way, I really, really appreciate you watching my channel, and I hope that my videos are helping you. As I mentioned in my last video, please let me know if there's something that you want me to vlog about that I can help. I've been getting some ideas through email, but I would love to hear others, and I'll see what I can do. Have a great weekend. Thanks so much for watching to the end of this video. I hope you found the information helpful as you teach science to your students. I really don't want to lose touch, so please make sure that you hit both like and subscribe so you get notifications every time I post a new video, and I'll catch you later.